Om Swami, Om Swami, Om Swami, Om Swami. All glories to Swami, myself, my God, my Divine Mother, my life, my all. Love, the very fabric of life. The subtlest of the elements is space, but even that space exists in love. One can intellectually understand space, but there is zero intellectual understanding when it comes to love. Love is a language of the heart. The mind has no business when it comes to love. Love is a practice, spiritual practice of the heart. Love is a sadhana. So let us first try to understand how we can get to that state. We've heard many times that love is a state of being. Love is not a noun. Love is an action. It's a verb. Love is the way you relate. It's not a relationship. Different people in the world have different state of beings. Someone who's deeply hurt, their state of being is anger and insecurity. Someone who is regretful all their life, their state of being is guilt. So you can pick any emotion and it can be a state of being. State of being just means it's the way that particular person relates to themselves and to the world. It's just a way of relating to yourself and the world. If anger is your state of being, you relate to yourself and the world with anger. If you can't accomplish something, you get frustrated at yourself. You blame yourself. If someone else cannot accomplish something, you get angry at them. Similarly, all sorts of emotions are present. But today we're going to look at love as a state of being. Love as a way of relating to yourself, to your own inner states, and love as a way of relating to others. But before one can reach love, there are a few steps they have to get to. Love is the final destination. For the sake of intellectual understanding, let's keep love as the final destination, the goal. How does one reach there? It starts with understanding. Only from understanding we experience empathy. When we experience genuine empathy, we experience compassion. And only when compassion becomes our state of being, love naturally takes over. So let us go step by step. Let us first talk about understanding. The one who understands himself or herself understands others. Whatever one is at any point of time in their life is because of the way their childhood was shaped by their parents and the society. Not every parent is awakened. They're doing the best they can from the knowledge they have. So children are exposed to their parents and the society. That time period in their childhood shapes what kind of person they're going to be in their adulthood. When we interact with adults, we are looking at the adults and we are totally not able to understand their childhood. We look at ourselves, our own actions, our own reactions, our own perspectives. And somewhere we tell ourselves, listen, I'm a grown up. I'm supposed to have a broader perspective. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I acting this way? So the first thing one needs to understand is we act, we think, we behave, we look at the world with a certain perspective because of our conditioning, because of the way our childhood was shaped by our parents and the society. A child who grows up in a family wherein forgiveness is never taught, which means if the parents are discussing that, oh, this particular relative did this to us, and the children are seeing that the parents are never forgiving that particular relative for acting a certain way or for making a remark, subconsciously they're conditioning the child to think, for thou shalt not forgive. Such a child will have a very tough time in adulthood forgiving themselves and others. They might even get to a state wherein they're able to forgive others, but they will never be able to forgive themselves. Because growing up, very subconsciously they have learned, forgive, thou shalt not forgive. So when we first relate to ourselves, the way we react, the way we think, the way we behave, the way we look at the world, know that we're all wearing glasses. Those glasses were gifted to us by our parents and the society. Which is why reading improves our perspective. All suffering is limited perspective, and liberation is completely removing those glasses and looking at things the way they are. So when you relate to yourself, first see where these reactions could be coming from. This doesn't mean we start blaming our parents and the society. Remember, everyone is lost. Like Buddha said, everyone is asleep, but I'm awake. The world is full of people who are lost. There are very few awakened masters, and their job is to awaken us. The first step is understanding that we were not born with these views. We were not born with these voids within us. We were not born with this guilt that we carry within us. These were all given to us innocently, unknowingly, by our parents and the society. They didn't know any better because their parents didn't know any better. So whatever they were handed, they handed it off to us. But if you really want to break this chain, it needs to start from where you are, from within you. We need to first identify the child in us that has picked up these habits, that has picked up these coping mechanisms in childhood. Question each one of these and gently, lovingly drop them. Something you have practiced for years together, cut yourself some slack and drop it slowly. Understand. So understanding alone when you understand that, oh, I behave this way because this is what I was taught. For no fault of theirs, I've just picked up this way. And I just have to choose differently. That understanding will give you, that understanding is the seed of empathy. That I understand it can happen. I'm just habitually used to this way of thinking, but I'm going to change. I'm going to think differently. Not again pre-programming yourself to think a certain way, but I'm just going to choose differently and think differently. So understanding is the seed of empathy. When you look at others, their behaviors, their way of looking at life, look beyond the adult, look at the child. If you see a really angry person, look at the hurt child. The understanding that this adult has been shaped by that hurt child is enough to bring empathy. Only when you empathize with yourself or you empathize with others, you are ready to feel compassion. Because empathy is the seed of compassion. And compassion, simply put, is how does it feel to be in their shoes? Let's first talk about self-compassion, because no matter what we are trying to practice, we need to practice it within us first. You realized some of your patterns. You understood where they might be coming from. You empathize with yourself as you're trying to transform. Have compassion to yourself first. Have some compassion for yourself. It's okay. You will falter many, many, many times trying to transform, but compassion begins at home. It's okay. We'll try again. It's okay. We'll try again. Being gentle with yourself is so important because we are so conditioned to not forgive ourselves, to be so hard on ourselves. Self-compassion. It's okay. I'll choose differently again next time. Same thing with others and their so-called mistakes. There are no mistakes. No one is committing any mistake. The child that has been shaped in childhood is propelling the adult to act a certain way. Who are we to judge it's a mistake? The child didn't know any better coming into the world. The child was fed certain belief systems, certain views, certain ways of behavior, and the child grew up as an adult and is acting a certain way. Who are we to say it's right behavior or wrong behavior? Understanding leads to empathy. Once you empathize, you step into their shoes and just try to feel what they might be feeling for them to act so bitter and angry. And you will truly melt. There will come a time when you look around and you see how everyone around you is parched for love, which starts with understanding. Because no one understands each other because they don't understand themselves. We don't understand each other. We keep judging each other because of that. And judgment is like a sharp arrow. You don't have to say a word, but the energy of judgment will pierce through the other person's heart. Now you tell me, walking in the society, constantly being judged by people and by yourself, that heart is torn apart. Such a heart, where is it going to find some solace? Where is it going to experience peace, contentment, gratitude? Such a heart is literally shred apart. Such is the world we live in, wherein we judge constantly because there's lack of understanding. It all starts from understanding yourself and others. Understanding leads to empathy. You empathize deeply from the bottom of your heart, you feel for the other person, you feel for yourself. From that empathy comes compassion. You literally try to step into the other person's shoes and feel what they feel. When you practice this, for a few days, your state of being starts changing. Your reactions start to get mellow. And eventually the reactions disappear. And what remains is the depth of understanding of the other person. Empathy that's just pouring out of your heart. Compassion that's oozing out of your pores. At that point, you relate to yourself and the world in love. You are in love. No one's behavior will bother you because you understand there is a hurt child. There is a misled child. There is a lost child that has just grown up. Love is not a relationship. Love is a way of relating. And these are not my words. These are Osho's words. Love is a way of relating. And our Swami says, nearness is love. When you understand someone, when you empathize, when you step into their shoes to feel what they're feeling, you're in love. You're so near to the other person. You feel everything they're feeling. Then you don't just brush off someone's sadness. It's a way of relating. Let's talk about the sadhana of love. How does one practice love? Do it in small 24-hour increments. Tell yourself for the next 24 hours, I'm going to follow these steps of understanding, empathy, compassion, and let me see what my heart does. Let me witness the dance of my heart. Let me see what I feel for the other person. This sadhana requires you to just be in love with people. Whoever is around you, you're just in love. Because you're able to look beyond their behaviors. You're able to look at that hurt child that's causing that behavior. Do it one day at a time, one person at a time. Can you relate to just one single person in love? Not end up in a loving relationship. We're talking about relating in love. Can you relate to just one person? The closest family is the biggest challenge. Can you relate to one person in love? And you don't even have to say a word to the other person. They will feel. They will feel that overwhelming love. Just take a minute to think about someone who really pisses you off. Look beyond that person. Look at their childhood. What might have happened in their childhood that they are shaped a certain way? Can you empathize? Can you truly step into that child's shoes and feel what they felt? And they're continuing to feel that they don't even know. Can you feel how parched they must be for love? If you have gone to that depth, close your eyes and see what your heart feels. That's relating with love. And that's sadhana. This alone fulfills you as a person. We are so focused on who's loving me. Let us switch it up to who can I love? Who can I relate to with love? That's sadhana of love. wherein your focus, majority of the times, is on giving love more and more. What happens then? Something for you to experience. What happens when you relate with love? What is it like to be in love? What is it like to be love? Don't you want to discover? Don't you want to experience that true unconditional love, at least for one person? You must. It's a beautiful state. You will falter many times because we are wired a certain way. But remember, all charity begins at home. So let that charity happen. Be understanding to yourself. Empathize with yourself that yes, you faltered again. It's okay. We'll give it a try again next time. Be compassionate. You're already in your shoes. It's hard. Change is hard. It's quite liberating, but it's hard. Can you be patient with yourself? Can you be loving and gentle? If you can just practice all this on yourself, that's it. Your state of being is changed to love. The one who understands himself or herself understands others. So the sadhana of love begins with understanding, moves to empathy next. Empathy becomes the seed of compassion. And when compassion oozes out of every pore of your being, you're in love. You should be in love. That's the very fabric of existence. So experience love. Be love. Report back and share all these beautiful stories of your love in the comments. Share how many people you related to with love. Let us all relate so much with love that this world becomes a beautiful, loving planet where people really love each other, truly. All glories to our Swami, the very embodiment of unconditional love. We love you.